Ms. Clarity, you represent Mr. McNeil, correct?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm asking for a reset because based on the negotiations, there were some allegations made regarding documentation. We don't have any. And I think based on the fact that there's an issue about who's been the custodial parent for this child who just turned 18, is getting ready to graduate in 2 weeks, that we need to reset it to conduct discovery. Now, when it was reset last time, there wasn't even enough time to conduct discovery. I think in the best interest of my client, or in fairness, and in the best interest of the child, that we need time to conduct discovery. And I would also add that the hearing be conducted in person.
Ms. Stovall, how old is your child?
She's 18 now.
When is she expected to graduate?
June 1st.
Like in the next month?
Yes.
Okay.
And Your Honor, the state's not in agreement with the reset. We've already reset once. There was
Yes.
time to conduct discoveries then. Since the child is 18 and graduates next month, the only issue really left is retroactive child and medical support. We have talked to the parties regarding those issues today and are prepared to go forward.
Okay, we're kind of there at the end, Ms. Clarity. We only maybe have 1 month of future child support to talk about. And then
Yeah, I understand that.
So why
I'm
we reset the case in April? Why do we need to reset again?
Because when it was reset before, just in April, yeah, for this month, it wasn't even 30 days. So that wouldn't have given me time to conduct discovery. And I understand the child, we're at the end. We were not aware then at the time that retroactive was an issue. So there is a significant issue about who's had custody of these children, or this child. The mom has made allegations and she's offered a credit and everything, but my client, like I said, in fairness to him, he needs time to be able to rebut that, have the documentation. And so that's why we're asking for the continuance.
Okay. Being that we're here at the last hour here, I'm gonna deny your continuance. We need to move forward. I don't know if y'all want to negotiate again or we can do it right now. And I can hear both sides. The only thing we're gonna consider is only the last 4 years. So anything before longer than the last 4 years, we're not counting. So whether whoever had the child 4 years ago, like the child's 17, so 13 years, we're not going to even talk about. We're only talking about just the last 4 years, approximately. That's the only thing we should discuss. We should have some idea on that. I know there may be some dispute, maybe hopefully just a few months, maybe of dispute, but if that maybe that helps us to move forward. Ms. Nutt, are you ready to proceed, or are you wanting to send it back for negotiation?
I'm ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and call your first witness.
I'll call the mother. Ma'am, will you state your name?
Carla Stovall.
And what's your child's name?
Jayla McNeil.
Okay. And when Jayla was born, did Mr. McNeil sign a document admitting he's the biological father?
Yes.
Okay. And in the last 4 years, who is your child living primarily with?
Me.
Has she ever spent a majority of her time living with Mr. McNeil?
No.
Okay. And when you have enrolled her in school, specifically the last 4 years, were you using your address or the father's address?
My address, the only time was this school year in the beginning, but it changed. But for the last 4 years is my address.
Okay, but this senior year, you enrolled her in school based on the father's address?
Yes, but she was living with me.
Objection, anything after yes.
What's your objection?
Non-responsive.
Okay, overruled.
And Ms. Stovall, how come you decided to enroll her in a school in the father's district for her senior year?
Due to having to move with my granny and trying to be able to pay for her with no assistance for school, I did have to move in my granny, so I've been we didn't have a consistent address when it was time for school to start. So he allowed her to be able to use his address. But Jayla is still with me and my granny at the time for now.
Okay. And you're requesting retroactive child support for the last 4 years, correct?
Say that again.
Yeah.
We didn't catch your microphone.
Yes, sorry.
Okay. And was there a private agreement between you and the father regarding child support in 2023?
Yes, that was the reason why we went down there to the court and we made an agreement where he would pay $300 a month. But he's been inconsistent to where why I am now requesting retro because I was, trying to be understanding to the agreement that he didn't um continue doing should have.
Okay. And so he has paid some months of $300, and so we've calculated a total to be $12,025. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you're willing to give him credit for that, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And based on his wages, we've calculated that child support would have been $983 each month. And after calculating the retroactive support for the last 4 years and giving him credit, the balance we came to was $35,159. Are you in agreement with that amount?
Yes.
And we've calculated a monthly payment of $226 beginning June 1st, 2025. Are you in agreement with that?
Yes.
Okay. And you're also requesting retroactive medical support, correct?
Yes.
And in the last 4 years, what kind of health insurance coverage has your child have?
She's have medical, dental, vision.
And has that been through your employer?
Yes.
Okay, so the last 4 years she's had private insurance. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you've been paying $357 per month for that coverage, is that right?
Yes, for the medical and then the 357 was just medical. It's 357 and 25 cents for medical and $56 dental and $4 for vision.
Okay. And you're requesting that the father pay you back for the 4 years that you've carried the private insurance.
Yes.
And have you, in the past 4 years, he reimbursed you for any of the premiums you've incurred?
No.
Okay. And so we've calculated a total for the medical support at $17,136. Are you in agreement with that amount?
Yes.
And we've calculated a monthly payment at $136. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any safety concerns if your address or your phone number is in the court order?
No.
Okay. Is there anything else you want the court to know about the retroactive child and medical support issues?
Just not anything I can think of, but I do have my proof of what he's paid me and where she has lived. I do have all my records of where her whereabouts and her living arrangements and how much he's paid me and how much I've paid for insurance today.
Okay, and just to confirm, in the last 4 years, your child, you're saying lives primarily with you,
Yes,
that you and the father did
100%.
not do a 50-50 split at any point.
No, not at
Okay.
all.
Okay, I'll pass the witness.
Mr. McNeil, I need you to look in the camera while we're even if you're not testifying. Ms. Clarity, do you have questions? Go ahead and follow with questions of Mr. Stovall.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Stovall. Okay, you said there wasn't a 50-50 plan.
Right, yes,
Okay, but isn't it true that you all agreed, okay, he will pay 300 back in 2023, is that correct? You agreed to
yes.
that.
Hmm.
Okay. So, but now you're claiming that you want retroactive for 900 something. Is that
Yes,
correct? So you're reneging on your agreement.
yes.
Okay. You said you have lived at different places because you had to live with your grandmother. Is that correct? In the past
This last
year?
couple months, yes. No, I've
Okay.
only lived in one place, and that's that address that you have where I moved with my grandmother, that only place.
Okay. And isn't it true during that time, Jayla, the child was living with her father primarily because you didn't have a steady place of residence?
No, not at all. She's been there 100%. She's never stepped foot to spend a night at all.
Okay. Uh, Father's residence is listed on her driver's license. Is that correct?
Her driver's license, I have a picture of it. It is 1903 where I currently live now. It's never had his address on anything.
Okay. Is she registered to vote at your address? Or isn't it true she's registered
Yes,
to vote at her father's address?
she's registered to vote at my address because she did vote and she worked for the polls then. So it's my address because she got paid for it as well.
Objection non-responsive to what she got paid as hearsay. I mean, non-responsive. Um, you said you've paid $357 a month for her medical insurance. Is
Mm-hmm.
that correct? Is that
Correct.
only for her? Is that for you and her?
No, that's her by herself. Together, we split it in half when we did the payment arrangements. It's $357 bi-weekly. So that's just for her and we just split it.
Do you have any other children?
No,
Do you have okay, you said vision, but you don't have any what is it? Parent not being the other one,
dental.
okay. Yeah, dental. You don't have dental, is that correct?
She does have dental.
Mm,
That's where most of her money goes, is her dental work.
okay. And you're claiming that he should reimburse you the whole amount of 35,159 for retroactive, even though you all agreed to 300 back in 2023.
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Okay. All right, Ms. Nutt, call your next witness.
The state calls the father. Sir, will you state your name?
Jonathan McNeil.
And Mr. McNeil, when your daughter was born, did you sign a document admitting to paternity?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And in the last 4 years, who has your daughter been primarily living with?
3 years with her mom and 1 year with me.
And when was that 1 year with you?
It began in July to Karen.
Began in July of when?
July of 2024 to currently right now. We have
Okay.
documentation showing the school records with my address.
So, does your daughter spend 50% of her time with you and 50% of her time with the mother?
I don't know how much time she spent with her mother. I don't stay with her mother. I don't know how much time she spent with her mother. I just know about me. She spent times with me when we communicate to spend time with each other due to my work schedule. That's when we see each other. I don't
So
put no
how
time.
often on average per week would you say she's sleeps over at your residence?
Uh, Maybe 2, 3 times whenever she feels like coming over. Like I say, my daughter has a driver license. She has her own vehicle, and I work, and I'm a truck driver. So when she comes to see me, we have never had no arrangements on the time that we spend.
In the last week, how many days did she come over?
Uh, I've seen her probably about 2 to 3 times. Like I say, she'll be here this evening.
And does she spend the night or does she just come over for a couple
Yeah,
hours?
she spends the night. She has her own bedroom here.
Okay. And then you and the mother had an agreement in 2023 where you paid her $300 a month.
Yes.
Okay, and we calculated that to give you credit for $12,025. Do you agree to that?
No, I don't.
And why not?
Because it should be more than that.
How much more?
I don't know. I had to go back and look at bank statements and all kinds of things, but there's various things that I pay for my daughter. Like I pay her monthly phone bill every month that I haven't got credit for.
Okay. How much is that?
That's $110 a month.
All right. And so are you in agreement or disagreement with the $35,159 in retroactive child support?
Disagreement.
Okay. And do you think the retroactive child support should be zero, or do you think it should just be a lower amount?
It should be a lower amount. It should be. I mean, if we agree to $300 a month from 2023, Ms. Stovall signs off on the document saying that she did not want no child support obligations in January of 2023. My attorney has the paperwork. So from January 2023 to now you got to give me credit also for the year that she's been staying with me, because I got proof that she's been staying with me, voter registration card registered to my address, school records registered to my address from August. So therefore, we talking about maybe a year that we agreed on the 300. Did I give her 300 from January 2023 to July of 2024? Yes, I did. And that was our agreement.
Okay. And do you understand that even if her voter registration card is at your address, that's not proof that she lives primarily with you?
There's no proof that she lived primarily anywhere.
I have.
Okay. Sir, you heard Ms. Stovall say she's requesting reimbursement for the private health insurance that she's paid the last 4 years, correct?
She's already accepted an agreement. We had an agreement.
Objection, non-responsive.
Sustained.
And sir, did you know Ms. Stovall was providing private health insurance these last 4 years?
She's always provided private insurance for the last 18 years.
Okay. And have
So
you ever
there's nothing new.
reimbursed her for any premiums she's incurred?
Yeah, the agreement was that I financially would help.
Objection, non-responsive.
Sustained.
You're asking me a question. You gonna allow me to answer?
I just needed you to answer yes or no if you've provided her any reimbursement for the medical insurance premiums.
That was not part of the agreement for me to
Objection,
reimburse.
non-responsive.
The yes or no question is what she's asking you, Mr. McNeil. So she wants your answer, but you're just trying to explain it. So either say yes or no to the question.
No.
Okay. And she's been paying $357 per month for your daughter's coverage, and so that in the last 4 years totals up to $17,136, and we're requesting you pay that back at $136 a month. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Disagree.
And do you think you owe any retroactive medical support, or you just think it should be a lower amount?
I don't owe no medical support.
Okay. And do you understand that this agreement you're referencing was never filed with the court and it's not a court order that is valid?
I don't need no court order.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Miss Clarity, go ahead.
Mr. McNeil, true, your daughter has already turned 18, is that correct?
Yes.
And she graduates in a couple of weeks?
Yes.
Okay, and she's been living with you primarily this past year?
Yes.
Okay, and it is also true you and Miss Stovall had no agreement regarding any possession in the past 4 years other than the child support. Is that correct?
What you said?
Well, you didn't have any agreement regarding where she would live in the
No.
past 4 years. Okay. And so is it true that she stayed with you part-time in the past 4 years and stayed with her part-time?
Yes.
Okay. And is it true, the only thing you're admitting is that she's been paying the medical insurance, is that correct?
Yes, that's what we agreed to.
And did she ever ask you or request or file anything asking you to pay her, reimburse her for that?
No.
Have you had any health insurance for your daughter in the past 4 years?
No.
Okay. Do you have it available to you
Yes.
through your truck driver? Okay. Do you have other children?
No.
Do you have any children over the age of 18?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any children under the age of 18?
No.
Okay. All your children has turned at least 18.
Yes.
Okay. Now you indicated you were not in agreement with the amount of the 35,059 that was calculated by the Attorney General's office, 983 a month. Is that goes against what you had previously agreed to pay, 300 a month beginning back in January 2023. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you would ask the court to honor that agreement?
Yes.
Okay, and calculated based at that $300 per month up through the current time. Is that correct?
Not the current time. I would ask that it
Mhm.
stop when the school records start showing that she's at my address this year.
And that was as of July 2024. Is that correct?
We'll just say August when school started, August the 20th when
Okay.
school started.
Okay. And so do you have an amount that you should have to pay, or that she should have to pay you for that matter, since there was no previous order?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else you want the court to know?
Yes.
First, what are the expenses you pay for your daughter?
Yes, I have documentation showing that I paid senior fees. I have paid driver license fees for my daughter to get her driver license. I have also paid for her to get a vehicle that she's currently transporting in right now. I have all the documentation that shows that I was the person. I transferred the title to the vehicle over to Miss Stovall.
Okay, and when was that?
March of 2024, last year.
Okay. And with respect to the senior fees, the driver's license fees, and the vehicle, you have vehicle repairs, right?
Yes.
You pay. Any idea how much you paid for that?
Oh man. Oh man. Nah, thousands of
Any extra money?
between $3,000 to $5,000. I know for sure.
And what about the senior fees?
That was $500, I think. And I just gave money for prom. I give my daughter money, visually cash money all the time. All the time.
And the driver's license fees?
I paid $500 for her to get a driver's license for the driving school.
She had to go to driving school. Okay.
Yes.
So altogether, if you add that, was three to 5,000 for vehicles. So we're gonna calculate that about 5,000 that you paid solely on behalf of your daughter that
Yes.
you're asking credit for. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else?
No, I just took her to Grambling on a college tour, which the school she's planning to attend in August. I paid for that too.
Okay. And
I
you'll be
paid.
paying some college expense, even though
Yes.
that's not an issue for today.
He said no.
Objection to what Ms. Stovall said. She's not testifying, Your Honor.
Sustained. Mr. No one's asking any questions. Mr. McNeil is the one answering questions right now.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. McNeil, you want to answer the question, or do you need her to repeat it?
Repeat the question, please, John. Miss Claudia, please.
No, I said you plan to continue to support her for college. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Okay. Does the state rest? You're muted, Ms. Nutt.
Sorry, yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Clarity, do you rest?
Yes, Your Honor, I do have a closing statement, though.
Go ahead.
Okay. Your Honor, I believe based on the evidence, first of all, this is a child who's already turned 18. There's been no orders in effect for the past 18 years, other than the fact that my client agreed to pay $300 a month back as of January 2023. I think that agreement needs to be honored. To assess him $983 goes against what the testimony was and everything. 35,159 is not a fair and equitable amount for retroactive child support. Again, these parents must have been doing something right if they've been able to work together all this time, and here at the nth hour we have a motion that was filed just this past month. I think father needs to be given credit for all the payments he's made, as well as the extra fees. I think we all know that senior year is always an expensive year for high school students. That needs to be taken into consideration. So, Your Honor, that's what we asked for. We asked you to deny the request for the 35,159, and make adjustments for the health insurance, the retroactive health insurance. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay,
And
thank you.
I do have a response to that.
Yes, ma'am.
We did give credit to the father for $12,025, which is part of the agreement that he and Miss Stovall made together. The state is not under the assumption that the child being registered to vote or just being enrolled in the father's school address means she lived primarily with him. And so we are requesting the retroactive child support for the full last 4 years. Additionally, the father knew that Ms. Stovall had private insurance, but did not provide any support to help cover those premiums. And so we're requesting those be reimbursed for the last 4 years as well.
Okay. All right. The easy one, of course, I'm not going to order child support for the future. So I'm not going to order child support for June 1st, since that'll be pretty much like 2-3 weeks from now. That probably doesn't make sense. So, as far as the other issues, I'm doubt that y'all probably had legal counsel when y'all arranged the $300 payment, but it's something that y'all had set up under the circumstances of what both of your incomes were and what the expenses were and things like that. I usually try to honor those, especially if we're here on a first case. Like, this is the first time we've ever talked about child support. We haven't done any prior court orders. Um, so for some reason, y'all agreed to $300. Now, I mean, looking back now, I guess in retrospect, it probably should have been about $983, maybe, but that's the number y'all agreed to. And so if I look at it that way, $300 times 48 months would be $14,400. And I subtract $12,025, that leaves us with a balance of $2,375. And then if I'm going to halfway believe Mr. McNeil paid some other expenses, that pretty much wipes out that. Okay, so I'm just going to say that as far as child support is concerned, Mr. McNeil does not owe any retroactive child support. So it'll be a zero balance for that. Now, medical, definitely there's medical due and owing. That, I mean, obviously, Mr. McNeil admitted he does not have the child on his insurance for health, dental, or vision. Ms. Stovall, you have. So I am entering a judgment for medical, since that was not part of this here, that arrangement of the $300. That was something additional. So I'm ordering a judgment for retroactive medical in the amount of $15,000 to be paid at $150 a month until paid in full. So the only thing that'll be due just is the medical part.
Was that 15,000 even, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 150 payout
Yes, ma'am.
beginning.
Beginning June 1st. And he can always pay more, but just trying to set it at a low payment, and then he has the option to send in more or pay it all off, however he chooses. But at the minimum, he needs to pay $150 a month. Okay. Court cost builder, Mr. McNeil. And that should wrap your case up. So once the last payment is made of the $15,000, then the case can be closed with the Attorney General's office. So however long that takes to pay that off. All right, that's my ruling. The Attorney General's office is going to draft that. And Ms. McClary, did you want to see the order or?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. Ms. Dodd, do you need any information from Ms. Clarity, email address or anything?
I filed the answer and everything, so they should have all that.
Okay,
Correct, Your
perfect.
Honor.
Okay, perfect. Okay, then they'll be sending you a proposed order. That'll be the order of the court. All right, y'all are done and are excused. You can press leave on the Zoom to exit out. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.